see clouds and fog. There it is, clearing. What's going to be on the November SAT? I see circles. I see percentages. I see area and volume of cylinders and other shapes. I see probability. I see many, many questions. Hey everyone, Sebastian here, back again with more SAT math. Another of my famous prediction videos in which I go through and do questions that I'm going to predict will be on a specific test. This will be the November predictions. I have 22 questions for you, the most I've ever done, the most exciting one. I'm not saying everyone's going to see all 22. I'm saying everyone will see some of these. Some people might see many of these, and all 22 will show up on one person's test or another. That's my prediction, and you can take it to the bank. So first question we have is here. It is x plus 4 squared plus y minus 8 squared equals 150. The graph of the equation, the given equation is a circle in the xy plane. The point AB lies on the circle. Which of the following is a possible value for B? Okay, so B is the y value. Now the way you do this without having to do too much work is think about how the points here are going to be -4, 8, and 150 equals r squared. So this is a little more than 12. R is a little more than 12. Which of these has a value that's going to give us less than 12? Anything bigger than that would be too much. So at 8, 22 minus 8 is 14. That's too far away. -9 minus 8, that's going to be 17 away. That's too far away. -8 and 8, 16, that's too far away. And then B, -4 to 8, that's exactly 12 away. Because it'd be 8 minus -4, that'd be 12. That works. Then that would mean that x would be very close to 4, otherwise it'd be too far. You could also do this using Desmos. I'm going to show you how I do that with Desmos right now. So what I do is I plug it in. Squared plus y minus 8 squared equals 150. And then I see the range of values for y. Y basically goes to a little bit below -4, so -4 is in the range, all the way to a little above 20. So the only one that works is B. That's another way you could do it. Either way works. They're both pretty fast. I like the conceptual way, but I have a lot of students who like Desmos, so do whatever you feel is best. All right, let's try the next one. In triangle ABC, angle B is a right angle. The length of side AC is 39√6. The length of side AB is 15√6. What is the length of side BC? So we're going to draw this one out. So we have a triangle. It doesn't have to be Michelangelo level skills. We just have to make a rough sketch. A, B, C. Length of AC is 39√6. Length of side AB is 15√6. What is the length of side BC? Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to just do regular Pythagorean theorem. So 39√6, 15√6. So 15√6 squared plus BC squared equals 39√6 squared. 15 squared is 225. Times 6 is going to be, anyone? That's right, it's going to be 1350 plus BC squared equals 39√6 equals 39√6 squared. That's going to be 9,126. When you subtract, we're going to get BC squared equals 7,776. Okay, now which of these is going to equal 7,776? You could try to find it by doing squaring this and putting it in the calculator, but I'm going to multiply these out. So I know it's not going to be c because that's bigger than the hypotenuse, so we can get rid of that. Then I know it's not going to be a either, so I'm going to try 36 root 6 squared. And when I do that, I'm going to get 7,776. So our answer will be B. Okay, so the key here is drawing it out to understand everything. And don't get freaked out by the root 6. The root 6 comes up all the time. It's not a big deal. All right, so now let's go on to the next one. All right, so we have another triangle question here. In triangle XYZ, the measure of angle X is 90 degrees, and XV is an altitude of the triangle. The length of XY is 12, and the length of YZ is 13 more than the length of XY. What is the value of XZ over XV? Okay, let's draw this out again. So this is X, it's 90 degrees, X, Y, Z, so we'll call this Y, Z, we'll call this V. The length of XY is 12, the length of YZ is 13. More than the length of XY. The length of YZ is 13 more than the length of XY, so it's going to be 25. It'd be easy to say it was just 13. I think some people would mess up like that. What is the value of XZ over XV? So XZ is right here. XV is there. So what you need to understand is that when you draw an altitude from a 90-degree angle, all the triangles are similar to each other. Okay, so here we have a 12, we have a 25. So XY, so let's call it, that's when 12 is across from angle Z. And this little one here, XV is across from angle Z as well. So this could be like the 12, and then the hypotenuse is XZ right here. So XZ is like the 25 because it's like the hypotenuse. So this would be like 25, and then this would be 12. Those aren't the actual values, but proportionally, that's what they are doing. Because again, they're proportional, big triangle to little triangle. Why is that? It's a long story. I'm going to put a link here in the video for you to see how I did that in another one. So now we have 12, 25. So from here we're going to do XZ over XV. XZ is 25 over XV. We could call it X and X actually, because there's some proportion of it, but the X's cancel, so it becomes just 25 over 12, which is C. I know these numbers are sort of clustered too closely together, but it is C, 25 over 12. If you have questions on that, please ask. This is one of the hardest conceptual questions, but if you get this one, you'll be moving and grooving through this. All right, and now we have the cylinder question, but if you see in a second, it's not really a cylinder question. You'll see what I mean in a second. Cylinder A and cylinder B are similar. Cylinder A has a surface area that is 25 times the surface area of cylinder B. The volume of cylinder A is V. In terms of V, what is the volume of cylinder B? Okay, so you have to think about the proportions between surface area and length, and then length to volume. So area equals length squared, volume equals the length cubed. So the ratio here is 25 to 1. So for length, we're going to square root them both and get 5 to 1 equals length difference, or length proportions. Length prop, I'm going to call it. So then volume would be cubed. And we'll get 125 to 1. Now, B is the smaller one. So if 125 equals V, so if A equals V, then B will equal V over 125. Now, which of these is V over 125? It is D, 0.008 V. If you have questions on this, let me know. But it's all about converting from area to proportions of lengths to proportions of volume, okay? In 3 steps like that. Boom, boom, boom. And just remember you're converting this bigger one into the smaller one. Okay, now we'll go on to the next one. All right, now we have another one here. John painted a room using various buckets of paint. In total, he had 24,000 milliliters of paint at the beginning. After 5 hours, he had 18,200 milliliters of paint left. If he continues to use the paint at the same rate, what is the total number of hours John will have been painting when there are 8,920 milliliters of paint left? Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to use the Desmos calculator, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so first I'm going to find how much is lost, right, by doing 24,000 minus 18,200 and dividing that by 5. So it's 1,160 an hour. And then I'm going to do 24,000 minus 8,920 dividing by, and I'm going to divide this by the rate lost per hour. So it's 13 hours total. Our answer is D. One thing that throws people off is they might just do the difference between 18,200 to 8,920 and get B, but really our answer is C. Now normally, people who know me know I like to write things out and do them, but here the numbers are complicated enough that I'm going to have to be doing Desmos anyway, so I might as well just type the numbers in and not write them out myself and just use Desmos as a way to write things out. Okay, so that's a great strategy to use to help you out. And now we have this one. The table gives the coordinates of 2 points on a line in the xy plane. The line also has a point at a plus 5, comma b, where a and b are constants. What is the value of b? Okay, so I could look at this and see that it goes down 6 and this goes down 30. So the slope is 5. Then that means we're going up by 5. Then we're going to add on 25 and get b equals 37. But I'm just saying that that's really fast. Let's do it in Desmos as well. So the way I do it here in Desmos is I'm going to put a table in. Instead of a, I'm going to put values in. Let's say a equals 5. So I'll do 5, then I'll do 12, then I'll do -1, then I'll do -18. Then I'm going to make an equation, get that. So a plus 5 would be when instead of 5, I'm going to add 5, so I'll get 10. And then I'm going to make that in the equation. So it's going to be 5 times 10 minus 13, 37, which is what I said before. Again, Desmos can help a lot to make something concrete from the abstract. All right, let's try this one here. The average price of a t-shirt at a store changed from January 1st, 2010 to April 1st, 2010 and is modeled by the function f, defined below, where f of x is the average price of the t-shirt x months after January 1st. F of x equals 4.5 plus 0.22 x minus 3. So think about this as a shifting thing. So normally 4.5 would just be our regular value, right? It's just our value when x is at 0, so it's like our y-intercept. But here we have x minus 3, not just x. So that's shifting it 3 to the right. So instead of the average price of the t-shirt on January 1st, 2014, it's going to be the average price of the t-shirt on April 1st, 2014. So it should be B. So when x is 0, right, which would be the month at the beginning, we're not going to have 4.5. We're going to have 4.5 plus 0.22 times -3. So it would be 4.5 minus 0.66. So that doesn't really work for us because that's going to be in the past if we're doing that at 0. So this is going to be the value after 3 months. So it's the shift going on. So it's going to be the April 1st value, if that makes sense. So if you have questions on this, let me know. It's super conceptual. There's not really math going on. It's just understanding about shifts when you're adding or subtracting to the x like this in parentheses. So as I said, it would be B as in boy. Okay, and then we have this one here. Y is less than x minus 3. Y is greater than -2x plus 5. Which point is a solution to the given system of equations? Okay, so you could check them point by point. So 4 is less than, is this true? Yes. And then is it going to be, because it'd be 4 minus 3. And 0 is less than 1. That works. Then does it work for the second one? 0 is greater than negative 3, because it'd be negative 2 times 4 plus 5, which equals negative 3. 0 is greater than negative 3. Yes, that works as well. A works. So it should be A. Let's just check 3, 0, just to see what happens there. There, it automatically doesn't work here because we get 0 is less than 0. That's not true. Now I'm going to show you how to do this on Desmos. So what you can do is you say y is less than x minus 3. Y is greater than negative 2x plus 5. Then 4, 0 is right here, and that falls in that range where they both intersect, right? You're looking for this area here. Not this just gray one, because that's only one section. Not this one, because that's only one. And not this, where it's neither. It's where they overlap in color. So it's right there, 4, 0. Then we have this here, 3 parentheses 4x plus 5 parentheses 7y equals 21. Negative 3 parentheses 4x plus 5 parentheses 7y equals 9. The solution to the given systems of equations is xy. What is the value of 4x plus 7y? So the issue here is people will plug this into Desmos, solve for it, but they're getting x and y, not 4x and 7y, and then they have to work it out and go from there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to think of them as x and y already. So I'm not going to multiply it out. I'm just going to keep them as they are. And I'm going to get this. Look. I'll do 3x plus 5y equals 21. And I'll do negative 3x plus 5y equals 9. Then where do they intersect? They intersect at 2, 3. So 4x plus 7y is going to be 2 plus 3. It'll be 5. And that'll be our answer for this one. Okay, so it'll be 5. Now, people might be like, well, what about if you don't want to do it that way, Sebastian? What if you just want to find it with elimination? Okay, so these two are opposites of each other. So when we add the two equations, we're going to get 10 parentheses 7y equals 30. So 7y equals 3. Why would I find what y is when I'm looking for 7y? That's silly. So I can plug that in there and get 3 parentheses 4x plus 5 parentheses 3 equals 21. I'm going to get 3 parentheses 4x. Again, why would I multiply out when I'm just looking for 4x? Plus 15 equals 21. 3 parentheses 4x equals 6. 4x equals 2. So again, it gets us that 2 plus 3. So think about why they're giving you 4x, 7y in all these places, because they want you to see how you can just think of it as x and y. Instead of doing extra work finding the actual x and then multiplying by 4, finding the actual y, multiplying by 7, don't do that. The expression 3x minus 22, 17x plus 4 is equivalent to the expression ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants. What is the value of b? This one's a classic. Let's just multiply them out, FOIL, and see what we get. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it here. Three x times 17x is going to be 51x squared. 3x times 4 is going to be 12x. Negative 22 times 17 is going to be negative 374x minus 88. So then this middle part here, we're going to get 51x squared minus 362x minus 88. So what is b? It's the middle value, 362. Negative 362 is going to be our answer. Okay. Nice, clean, easy, breezy, beautiful. Now we have this one here. Which expression is equivalent to 6 over 3x minus 5 minus 2x plus 1? So what you want to do is make common denominators. So this one's going to get multiplied by x plus 1. This one's going to get multiplied by 3x minus 5. So in the first one, we're going to get 6 parentheses x plus 1 minus 2 parentheses 3x minus 5 all over parentheses 3x minus 5 x plus 1. So then on top we're going to get 6x plus 6 minus 6x plus 10. So we're going to get 6 plus 10 is going to be 16. 6x minus 6x cancels. So we're going to get 16 over 3x minus 5x plus 1. B as in boy. Okay, any questions on this? You know to put them in the comments. I'm feeling good about the November test. I think my students are going to do well on it. I think you're going to do well on it. I'm just feeling like it's going to be a good one. A circle in the xy plane has a diameter with endpoints 3, 8 and 9, 8. An equation of the circle is x minus 6 squared plus y minus 8 squared equals r squared, where r is a positive constant. What is the value of r? Okay, so notice how the 8 and the 8 are the same. So we don't have to do any fancy schmancy distance formula equation. No, because that's going to be 0. So the distance between the two endpoints is 3 to 9 is going to be 6. Okay, so, and we don't have to worry about it being the diameter because they tell us it's the diameter. We don't have to figure that out. So the distance is 6. D equals 6. So then r equals 3. So then that's all we need to do. That's all. It's not asking for the value of r squared. Just looking for r. R equals 3. How do we get that again? From 9 minus 3. If you really wanted to be fancy, right, it'd be 9, parentheses 9 minus 3 squared plus 8 minus 8 squared. But don't do this. That is bad. Don't do that. Could you use Desmos for this? I wouldn't bother with it. All right, now this one here. In February 2024, Abel grew 15% more tomatoes than in January 2024. And in March, he grew 6% more than in February. If Abel grew m times as much in March as he grew in January, what is the value of m? Okay, so in February, grew 15% more. So let's say January was J. So he grew 15% more, so this equals January. So then February will be, this is a nice proportion, percentage ones, 1.15 J. And in March, he grew 6% more than in February. So it's going to be 1.15 times 1.06 J equals March. Okay, so it's not going to be A. It's not going to be B. It is going to be 1.219. It'll be C. I knew it wasn't going to be B because if you added 0.06 to the 1.15, you'd be getting 1.21 already, and it has to be a bit more than that because we're multiplying it. So let's see. If you have questions on this, let me know. It's just basically stacking percentage changes, okay? They love to test you on this, and I'm feeling like it's going to come up in the November one. It's come up a lot before. I think October it didn't seem to come up too much, but it's coming. Don't worry. Then we have this, a scatter plot question. The scatter plot to the left shows the relationship between two variables, x and y. Which of the following could be an equation for the line of best fit for the data? Okay, so we have this line of best fit. It's super far from this, but how do we do this? Interesting. You can just plug in and see what happens. So if you plugged in, let's say 6, here, it is not going to be A, because that should be 600. And it shouldn't be C or D. It should be B, because these two are all too big. So it'll be B, 68x plus 123. If you drew it out, right? If you drew out a beautiful line, you would see that it would hit somewhere like that. Also, you can see that the slope right, you're going from 5.5 to 7, and you go up less than 100 there. So it has to be less than 100. It has to be B. These are all too big. Also, because it's 123, we're not going to worry about that, because it's either 0 or 123, and 123 is better than 0. And then you don't compare that, you compare the slopes. So it'll be B. Very conceptual, but still not too bad of a question. Then we have this. After the number of flowers in the garden increased by 500%, there were 720 flowers in the garden. How many flowers were originally in the garden? So this is tricky, because it's increasing by 500%. So it's basically x plus 500%, so 500 over 100, x equals 720. So it's going to be x plus 5x equals 720. 6x equals 720. X equals 120D. Okay. What a lot of people want to do is they just want to multiply by 5, but that's not going to work here. You have to add the 5x. And now let's go to this one. A cabinet contains 12 black socks and 38 white socks. This might be the easiest one I predicted, but still worth to go over because I really feel like it's going to come up. If one of these socks is selected at random, what is the probability of selecting a black sock? So probability is part you're looking for over total. So it is part over total. So here it's going to be 12 black socks over 12 plus 38. 12 over 50 to get 6 over 25, or if you wanted, you could do 0.24. All right, nice, clean, beautiful. I want everyone who gets this one to get it 100%. I believe in you all. All right, now let's look at this. For x is greater than 0, the function is defined as follows. F of x equals 27% of x. Which of the following could describe this function? So how could we describe this function? Equals 27% of. So f of x equals 0.27x. So what does that look like to you all? It looks like, to me, a linear function, and it's positive, so it's increasing. So it's increasing linear. I think some people would say it's decreasing exponential because they're thinking of 0.27 to the x, but that's not what it's saying. It's 0.27 of x, so it's multiplication d. And now another one. We're getting close. I'm doing 22 questions in total. To think about it as 22 half questions, that would be one math module worth. The frequency table to the left summarizes data on the mass of 40 objects. Which of the following could be the median mass of the 40 objects? Okay. So here they tell us there are 40 objects. So we're looking between the 20 and 21st. So this is going to be 7, 11, 17, and then 28. So the 20 to 21st objects are going to be between 21 and 25 kilograms. So that has to be our answer. It has to be between those two values. So it's going to be C, 22 kilograms. Okay, if you have questions on that, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. Now we have this. In the town of Haines, 30 doctors at a hospital are surveyed. 33% say they don't have children. There are 30 hospitals in Haines, and the average hospital has 60 doctors. If the surveyed doctors are representative of the doctors in Haines, which of the following best estimates the number of doctors who have children? Okay, so 33% say they don't have children, so that means 67% say they do. So we're going to have 67% of 30. So that would be approximately 20 per hospital, per 30. But the average hospital has 60, so really it's going to be an average of 40, because it's going to be 20 times 2. And then how many hospitals do we have? 30. So it's going to be 40 times 30, and that's going to give us 1,200. C as in cat, okay? So that one's just about reading carefully, making sure you understand what the question is asking for. I think a lot of people would think it's just asking for the 30 doctors, and they might also think about the ones who don't have children, but it's asking for overall everywhere, the 60 doctors per average at the 30 hospitals, how many do have children, okay? And then the math itself isn't too bad. A lot of the SAT math, the math isn't that bad. It's just about reading carefully and following through. This one doesn't have any math at all. It's just about understanding how to do good research. To determine the mean number of skateboards per household in a town, Omar surveyed 30 families at a skate park. For the 30 families surveyed, the mean number of skateboards per household was 3.2. Which of the following statements must be true? The sampling method is flawed and may produce a biased estimate of the mean number of skateboards per household in the town. The sample size is too small to make an appropriate statement about the number of skateboards per household in the town. The mean number of skateboards per household in the town is 3.2. The sampling method is sufficiently random and likely to produce an unbiased estimate of the mean number of skateboards per household in the town. So this one is all about how would you do a good sampling. And it would be A is the right answer because this is not a good sample. It's a convenient sample. Someone just went to a skateboard park and surveyed the people there. That's going to create a biased view because the type of people who go to a skate park are more likely to have skateboards. You know, if you went to a retirement home, there might not be that many skateboards. If you went to an elementary school, there might be more skateboards. You need to do a more random sample to get a good overall estimate. Not just go to a skate park and ask all the skaters, hey, how many skateboards do you have? That doesn't produce a good estimate of the households in the town. And now we have this, our last one here. Variables x and y are related such that for every time x goes up 1, y goes up by a factor of 3. When x equals 0, y equals 60. Which equation represents this relationship? Okay, so it's an exponential relationship because it's going up by factors, so by multiples every time. Now, which of these, when you plug in 0 for x, gets you 60? You could do it that way. So this one, 3 to the 0 is 1. 60 times that works. That gets you 60. 60 to the 0 is 1. This just gets you 3. This gets you 0. This gets you 0. So it has to be this one here, A. I don't know why the letters disappeared on me. But it'll be A because fact starts at 60 and you're going up by a multiple of 3 every time, okay? If you have questions on this, let me know. If you have questions on any of these, let me know. I'm going to be doing more videos. I'm going to be doing live streams. I really want to do as much content as possible this month to help you prepare because I know it's a big one for a lot of people. It's the last one they take before they're submitting. And yeah, so I'm really feeling good about these predictions. You won't see all of them, but you will see some of them. And that'll be very helpful, I think. So again, I hope it's sunny where you are, but if it's raining, I hope the rain is cleaning your windows and watering your plants. Bye.